Welcome to MSP Unplugged, highly secure email products with MailProtector. I am your host, Paco LeBron. This is our live show where we discuss different ways to run your IT business, whether it's managed services, consulting, break fix, or anything in between. Let me go ahead and introduce my guest and co-host for today. We have none other than Matt Scully, Channel Chief over at MailProtector. Matt, how are you?
Paco, what's going on, man? Happy to be here, man. Thank you for the invite.
No, I appreciate you coming on. I know that we go back ways from previous days, and just like we were talking about before the show, look, just a couple guys talking more about kind of what MailProtector is all about and how it could benefit a lot of the listeners here today.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that because I knew that you're going to be wearing a maroon shirt. Last night I went and I found a maroon shirt.
You got the memo.
I got the memo. So
perfect. But before we go into that, I want to talk about my favorite thing, which will probably be the last announcement that we will have, and that is TechCon Unplugged 2021. That is happening this weekend, September 17th to the 19th, over at the Aloft Chicago O'Hare Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois. So if you're listening to the audio version of this, it had just happened. Was probably a great time. And for those that are listening live or watching this on demand before the weekend, it will be a great time. We will be learning from amazing panels to help maintain and improve your business. We will be meeting vendors to find products and services that can save you time and money. And most importantly, I think what we really needed and what we really want is go ahead and rub elbows with your peers in the community. Unfortunately, ticket sales are closed for the event, but if you are interested in hearing on what we have coming up and that's going on for next year, head over to techconunplugged.com and sign up for updates as we talk about more things that are happening throughout the year of 2022 and, of course, TechCon Unplugged 2022. All right. Well, Matt, again, really appreciate you coming on here. We have probably known each other for on and off for about probably
5 years.
Let's say, yeah, about 5 years. Yeah, right back when in the Dado days. So,
those were fun days.
Yeah, for sure. There were definitely some interesting times there. I think the most recent time I seen you were at the ASCII event over in Lincolnshire. And oh no, I lied. I saw you at the security. Yep, the security soiree that Lori Tishney threw over at IT Owners Compass. So
now, did you know that directly across the street from that yacht club, they had what is it, Lollapalooza was there?
Yep.
Literally directly, you could hit a tennis ball.
Yep.
And so I got there a day early, and they had security all around the yacht club because all these crazy drunken 20-year-olds were coming in trying to look at the boat.
So it's funny. So when we started doing this, when I started getting involved with the community and stuff like that back in 2015, CompTIA had their Chicago event over on 720 South Michigan. I forgot the hotel, what it is. I think it's the Intercontinental. But I remember when we were kind of meeting up with all the podcasters and all the listeners and stuff, we were literally walking and it was pouring that day. I remember it was really bad, but you saw like the droves of fans leaving because that was like literally the last day of Lollapalooza, and everyone just couldn't. Everyone visiting was like, holy, like this is a lot of people, and so it was definitely a great time. Always a good time in Chicago. So
I love Chicago. Matter of fact, one of my favorite spots is going to be right where you are at the Rosemont. There is, if you ever get a chance, it's a place called Gene and Jude's.
Yep.
It's a hot dog stand.
Yes.
And I'll tell you that whenever I'm in Chicago, I make sure I hit that spot.
Yep. Gene and Jude. So the top two Chicago, for those that are listening ever in Chicago, top two hot dog places, Gene and Jude's over, like you said, right nearby Rosemont, or if you're feeling adventurous in Humboldt Park area, is called Jimmy's. And that is what, And so it's over there, cash only. Do not ask for ketchup on your hot dog because there is literally a security guard there with a pistol that's ready to kick you out. So definitely good times. But yeah, it's been a big staple there. I grew up in Humboldt Park, one of the big neighborhoods there in the west side of Chicago. But going into the topic at hand, MailProtector. I think that a lot of people, there are people who have heard of MailProtector. There are people that have not heard about MailProtector. Why don't you go ahead and give me kind of just maybe a 30-second elevator pitch on what MailProtector is?
Sure. So MailProtector started in 2002 as a company that protects mail, right? I mean, hence the very creative name that we have there, right? But since 2002, usage has increased, email usage has increased, the need for security, compliance, all that fun stuff, and we have the certifications, we have the patents to protect your entire email infrastructure. And that's what we do. That's what we're good at. That's what we received numerous awards even this year on. And that's what MailProtector does. We protect email and email security environments.
Yep. And I think what was really cool is that, and for disclaimer for everyone listening, we are a MailProtector partner. And I think, and it was funny because I had heard of MailProtector in the past. I think your predecessor, Ted Roller, who was there, was really talking about MailProtector and stuff, but it wasn't until your presentation, which I think was one of the probably most entertaining presentations that kept my attention, right? And that just really opened our eyes on really understanding what MailProtector does. Sure. But I think specifically what really captured us was relationships and networking, right? Because I've known you for so long, and the fact of how you were kind of delivering that presentation, there was no BS. This is what you believed in. You saw what needs to be conveyed to the audience. So I remember at the moment I was messaging my service manager, which everyone knows, John Dubinsky is working with us at Prodigy Techs. And I said, we got to get on MailProtector, because literally at that same moment, we were trying to figure out, okay, what is going to be our new solution? Because we were using a company that just was so complex in setting up the MX records. We were using an anti-phishing company that just wasn't really scaling to what we need. It wasn't hitting the bar. And I can tell you that, we had one of our big clients constantly complaining about spam coming through, and we did what everyone other MSP tries to do. Hey, well, let's leverage Microsoft 365's anti-spam and anti-phishing policies. Let's really configure and see how we can really get into it on the nitty gritty. Unfortunately, either you got to turn it all the way up, or you have to kind of give it a balance, but it's really letting a lot through that you shouldn't get let through, and not with a ease of use to really figure out what's spam and what's not. Mm-hmm. So, we unloaded it with the client that had the problem. I have not heard any complaints since. Awesome. I mean, to the point where we had one of the staff members there reach out to us and say, hey, we're getting emails in our spam filtering posing as as our CEO. And I had to reply, I was like, yes, you are correct. The system is working. that is the purpose of it doing that. You can mark it and block it and go from there. But, kind of going into that, and I think you really hit it on the head on that presentation, was, why should listeners choose you over the competitors? Because there is a lot of, I think there's two pieces, right? I think there's a lot of marketing that's put in a lot of anti-spam, anti-filters, depending on the different products that MailProtector offers. And they don't really specifically say anti-spam and anti-phishing. They say email security. And I think that's kind of the phrase that everyone is kind of wrapping around. But, why should people flip over to MailProtector? Or if they're looking into providing a much more in-depth mail enhanced security, why should they take a look at MailProtector?
Awesome. I mean, it comes down to two different things. It's our solutions and our culture. It's not lost on us that we've been doing this for 19 years. This is what we do. We do nothing else. We're not some big company that bought a smaller email security company and is trying to push that. It's not lost on us and how complex email security really is. A major function of MailProtector is our advisory board, where we have 6 people, 6 MSPs that are involved in everything we do, whether it's cost, whether it's go-to-market, whether it's product development, whether it's the presentation that you referenced. I make sure that anything that goes out of the MailProtector doors, regardless of how much we've invested into it, gets filtered through our advisory board. And I'm telling you, there has been times when we've spent tens and thousands of dollars on a project that we scrapped because our advisory board didn't feel it was necessary to the channel. Our VP of VP of Partner Success, he was an MSP. So a lot of the solutions that we have were built from his experience as being an MSP. So when you're looking at our culture, it's innovation, creativity, and those are some of the products. Those 2 ingredients are gone into some of the products that we have shared with the channel.
Very cool. And I think one of the big pieces of that you just mentioned is people and the culture. I remember that for two things, one for product, one for culture. But, we had an issue that we just emailed into support on a weekend, and I think we got a reply in like 3 minutes. I mean, it was just that fast. And I could be probably adding time onto that because I just remember John telling me like, S to bed because like the support is just on it, right? And just you could just tell that everyone is just so involved and really wanting to help. And more importantly, what's even more funnier about that is when we actually rolled it out on our own domain to test it out, it actually discovered a mail flow issue that ended up we had to escalate to Microsoft, who then resolved the issue. So it was one of those where like we had a bug that we didn't even know of mail flow issues, and that's one of the features that MailProtector has that really helped us know like, all right, we picked the right solution. I mean, we got so many great things on it, the platform, the dashboards, some of those things there. But one thing I did forget to kind of go through is that you're no stranger to the channel either. Like you're no stranger to the IT industry as well. So I mean, you have plenty of experience to understand what's kind of going on and where that's at. How has that helped you kind of leverage the ability to really bridge that gap on introducing a product to the channel that maybe from people you've known before, or just attendees or listeners that are looking at MailProtector for the first time?
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a great question. So yeah, I think I'm year number 6.5 in the channel, which in the channel, that's kind of a long time. It kind of makes me a veteran. But having said that, when I left Datto, this was back in May of 2020, I wanted to make sure that the next company that I'm going to work for passes the test. And that test is it innovative? Is there a need for it? Can MSPs make money on it? And is it going to be relevant in a post-COVID world? And there was a couple different companies that I was speaking to. And the way that I was able to filter that test was that I have a lot of the MSPs that I would travel with. When we would do a road show, we would spend literally 3 or 4 days together in different cities. So there's a lot of time where, either eating meals together, or you're having a beer at the bar with them together, or traveling on a plane. And so you got to kind of know each other. So I took 5 MSPs and I had them go in and research the companies that I was talking to. And MailProtector just hit on every single one of them. Single one of them. And that's where that channel experience. I mean, because I'm really not a technical person, but having their validation or their reasoning for going with MailProtector was a huge part in my decision to go there.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, talking a little bit more about kind of like how does the company save MSPs and IT business owners money and time? Like, where have you seen the most benefit to not only just partners, but maybe even what the advisory board has been telling you on how that's been helping them in their practices?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily it saves MSPs money. It makes them money.
Gotcha.
I think that's the best way to look at it. With our solutions, MSPs can build a security wall for their clients' entire email infrastructure. Okay, so with that, MSPs, through our solutions, MSPs have that hand in there. And with those solutions, it comes with a price, and a price obviously the MSP can build upon. Again, going to market, speaking to our advisory board, we know where to go and price the solutions that MSPs can go build on top of that and be able to make money on that. So that's important. That's, in other words, we're not coming in at very high and the MSPs can't make anything on it. We want MSPs to make money on our solutions. But I would say probably, God, that question, even more importantly, our solutions also contribute to a company compliance. In other words, SafeSend. SafeSend is our outbound email solution, basically saying that, hey, if you have credit card information, or if you have Social Security or offensive material, reputation protection or anything like that, that email can't go out. It gets stopped right in its tracks, and it gets sent back to the sender and saying, hey, you can't send that, and here's the reason why. Same thing with our filter, our filter cloud filter solution. I mean, everyone, no matter whose presentation or whatever stats you're looking at, all these attacks begin with phishing. I think it's like 86%. And if you have a strong cloud filter in place, that's going to stop these attacks, at least prevent it.
Right.
So that's an important, it's not good just to have a out of the box, filtering solution. You have to go with the guys that know what they're doing, guys and girls that know what they're doing. And then lastly is encryption. I mean, we saw this with the Colonial Pipeline. When you go and you find out the stuff that was being hijacked from the Colonial Pipeline, if there were people that were working there using an encrypted solution, they would not have been able to have access to that. And that's very important. So again, it's, protecting your client's email infrastructure, making some money on it. And that's where we come in.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a big piece. And I think we want to talk a little bit more about bracket and the encryption, because kind of like what you just said, really this is improving MSP services. I mean, that's really where it comes down to, on being able to give them that leg up and being able to help mitigate a lot of risk for the client. But with, as everyone knows, security, there's always a cost of comfortability, and there's always that trying to make that balance between two. And for me, I've always had the horrible try and figuring out how to get encryption into a client, because, for example, a lot of my HIPAA clients, they're just saying, we don't want the dashboard. We don't want to deal with our client having to log in to a dashboard for information we need to get them. It's just creating this big barrier. However, it's a compliance need. Sure. But I think, the other piece of it too is just, encrypting the email going out, making it simple and being able to really get it to go through as like a non-brainer of just a simple couple keystrokes and kind of go from there. And I think Bracket really helps and achieves that. I think that was probably one of the most popular products for a couple of years now on how that's done. Can you talk a little bit more about like how Bracket is kind of came to be and some of the expansions off of Bracket too? Because I think you revealed some things too at the show as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Bracket is simplicity. That's the most important. Okay. And right next to it, simplicity is secure. Okay. We have our own patent on that. And when you combine those two forces to MSP solutions, okay, it's an easy sell. All right. Yeah. Simple and secure. How it works is this. It's really, really simple. I'm not going to give you the speeds and the feeds on it. It's simple. When you want to send an encrypted email, all you do is put Bracket into the subject line. Bam, it's done. And it's simple, secure, that's it. And that email is encrypted. What I really like about Bracket, again, sort of going back to my channel experience and speaking with MSPs from all over the world, is Bracket also has a built-in lead gen. And what I mean by that is that it's such a sexy and viral solution that a lot of people, once they get a Bracket email, especially if they're not a Bracket licensed user, they want it. They want to know. They want to be able to do that. They want to be able to send encrypted emails for Bracket. So let's just say that I'm an MSP. All right, I sell you a Bracket license. Okay, you use that license and you send an encrypted email to, let's just say, your neighbor. Your neighbor gets this email, and again, there's no signups, nothing to download, nothing like that, no passwords or anything like that. Okay. He says, wow, I'm an accountant. I really need to have this type of information. I really need to have this type of solution. So he literally can put his first name, his last name, and his email address, and that will get sent over to me, the MSP that sold you the Bracket license. Okay. So that's a great lead gen for MSPs. The other thing also about Bracket is something that we had enhanced. And we actually did this at an ASCII show. This goes back about maybe a year and a half when, again, as you mentioned, my predecessor, Ted Roller, was speaking to a bunch of MSPs. And it was discovered in that conversation that 74% of all Bracket emails have attachments. So what we did was we created a share functionality to it. And what that means is that you literally have your own file transfer page. So let's just say you go into your auto signature, you're a car dealer, you're a mortgage guy, or you're, as I said, an accountant earlier. What happens is that your clients can go into your auto signature, they can click on your own customized URL, and your entire file transfer page pops up. All right. And you could send files up to 1 gig each. Matter of fact, you could send 25 different attachments up to 1 gig each on that one specific particular email. That's a really cool function.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. I mean, because I think that, as we all try to find good transfer solutions, there's really clunky ways of doing it, sending a link to probably a permission set SharePoint folder. There's, using third-party sites that you don't really know what's going on, like WeTransfer and stuff like that. So I think this is great because not only do you have something that's customizable to yourself on your own branding, But I think the biggest piece is the size, right? I think that's where a lot of people get stuck on, is trying to get, hey, how do I get these big files over? And sometimes frustration sets in and they just end up taking the least secure route to get that data over. So I think that's a huge piece on that as well. But you also mentioned too, I think that, lead gen and partner opportunities. And I know that from working with your team, there is a great hand holding of how to market this solution to your customers. Can you talk a little bit more about the partner enablement piece of the company and how that's kind of growing and scaling out?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're selling Bracket, you're selling encryption, right? So you'll have a area manager, an engagement manager rather, that will help you sell this. Okay, and when we brought it down into what we call a cane, and basically it's a confidentiality. Okay, when you sell an encryption, it's the email is going to be confidential. It's just between you and the receiver. There's also authentication, which is more of like a timestamp saying, okay, it was sent on September 13th at 8 p.m. That can't be altered. The integrity, the contents of the email cannot be altered as well. What you put in there stayed in there. And of course, the non-repudiation, meaning me as a sender say, I can't say that I never sent it. And so that's how strong encryption is. All right. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that we have done is we have allowed you now to go and sell encryption as a service. And what I mean by that is that historically what happened was that when you were to go and sign up for Bracket, this is August of 2020, you had to provision your MX records through MailProtector. The problem with that is that there's some industries that do not want to have their MX records to be provisioned through a third-party company like MailProtector. 2, to go and provision your MX records, it's kind of a pain in the ass, right?
100%.
Yep. And 3 is that some people are already working with their own filtering company and don't want to layer on that filter. Yeah. So now what you're able to do is for O365 users, you no longer have to provision your MX records through MailProtector, which makes the process a lot more simpler, a lot more time consuming, a lot less time consuming, and it's just an easier flow. So that, again, is going to allow you to go out there and sell encryption as a service on its standalone.
Cool. And then, yeah, I think that it's so cool that like you have the dashboard too of all the products and how it all plays in that flow as well.
Yes.
It really, yep, exactly. And it's really clean. It really helps you, and it has a multi-tenant dashboard as well that can help you assist on that. Not sure if you have any details on that, on kind of how that kind of came to be from talking to the advisory board.
Yes, absolutely. I'll give, you know what, I have a perfect story on that. Okay. So let's just say that, and this actually was something that was presented to me about 7 months ago, that there was an email thread out there, an MSP, he was managing 1,200 domains. Okay, 1,200 domains. So what he had to do historically, okay, is that you'd have to go into every single one of those domains and create a rule or a permission. With Council, you could do it once and hit all 1,200 domains at once. Mm-hmm. So that allows your techs to go and work on other items that are more important. They're not sitting there behind a desk all night trying to hit every single one of the domains. You could do it all at once. Gotcha. So yeah, that's a great way that the Council came in, obviously born from an MSP.
Yeah, it just works out really well, and it just kind of identifies. I mean, it's got a lot of great features inside of there as well. And then obviously we've talked about that how MailProtector is channel only. Mm-hmm. If someone was to think about switching over to you, is there any promotions or any discussions from them switching from a competitor if they wanted to discuss that with y'all?
Absolutely. First and foremost, it's a 250 minimum, right? Our contract is the minimum is 250. Anyone that's on this call, we would do 150. If that's going to help you get started. And another thing that we were just rolling out as well is that if you are a MailProtector partner, what we're going to be giving you is the Safe Send, which is the outbound, as well as the Cloud Filter, which is obviously the inbound, and as well as Bracket for your company as well. So that would be an NFR that you would receive on that.
Very cool. Yeah. And I think those are great times, because I think that's one piece that I did forget to kind of gloss over, is that, MailProtector will help you scale as you are trying to incorporate their solution. They understand that, there are some smaller MSP, or maybe not a smaller client base / you're trying to go into the market and really market this. They will actually scale with you. And when you talk to that rep, they kind of help guide you in some of that detail as well. Now, does MailProtector have any contracts?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. There is a contract, and again, it's also like $250 minimum. I have a barking dog that I got to let out, so I'm going to take a walk with you.
No worries.
Let's go, Doug. Yes. So $250, and it's a 1 or 3 year contract.
Gotcha. Perfect. And then, I know that pricing is very competitive, is very in there as well from speaking from us. And then kind of what are you seeing as kind of like the next step, or kind of what's going to happen with MailProtector? What's some things that you're focusing on? What are some new, maybe behind the curtain type things that you can kind of hint at that may be coming for here either at the end of the year or 2022?
2022. They are coming. I can't hint at it right now.
Okay.
But what we have really stopped up on our development team, we've had some very big hires, and we're bracing for spring of 2022, where we're going to be launching some really cool stuff. So I could tell you that the solutions that we have right now are high on the innovative scale. But I'm really excited for what we're going to be doing for the spring of next year. So definitely keeping tune on that.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, let's take a quick break. And then if there's any final thoughts or something that we may have not covered, let's go ahead and round back there. But for those that want to support the show, you can go ahead and head over to patreon.com/MSP Unplugged. There's about $1 a show. And you will not only gain access to a lot of the early news, whether it comes to our event and things of that nature. We do have a private IT business /MSP group over on Facebook. Safe space really helps with contributing and really gaining a lot of information that you may not feel comfortable posting in other places. I know that I am a part of a lot of other Facebook groups that unfortunately a lot of the members there will speak opinions as fact. And there's more, and I know Matt knows what I'm talking about, but there is a lot of this assumption or this perception that a lot of people just are starting off and they are learning and they're trying to figure out the best way to do things, and ridiculing them is just not the best way to do so. So we've developed this. We got a great space, and we have a zero tolerance for that as well. So if we do see any type of that behavior, they're out. It's just how that works. So really great place to be. Again, if you are interested, go to patreon.com/MSP Unplugged, and we'll go ahead and get you set up. And for all those that are continuously supporting us, we thank you as well. Also, if we can go ahead and leave us a review. On your favorite podcatcher app. We are on Apple Podcasts, we are on Spotify, we are on Amazon Music. If you go ahead and leave us a review, it'll help us be found by other like-minded listeners as well. All right, Matt. Man, I can't even believe the 30 minutes already flew by. I mean,
we're two old friends talking, man. I know that's.
And I was just gonna say, every time we get, I think the last time we really got to sat down was at Ditka's.
Because, God, isn't that? Oh my God! I mean, so that one was the Chicago experience.
Yep.
You go into Ditka's, right, and it was like the noisiest crowd that I have ever. I mean, so much to take away from that. It was the noisiest crowd, and and so then you had to try to tame this crowd because you had a couple sponsors there that were sort of meek, and they were just got lost in the shuffle there. But what was really cool about that, and this is sort of a side story. Now, one, it was also the last time in 2020 that anyone traveled because right after that, including Ditka's, closed down. Right after that, but two.
So really quick, funnier story than that. I remember that you guys actually had it at another restaurant before, and they closed down, and you had to switch it to Ditka's.
Yeah.
So so to see that happen, I was just like, man, yeah. But yeah, there is a Ditka's in Oak Brook. Unfortunately, the downtown location did have to permanently close due to COVID.
Yeah, that sucks because that was a great spot. But the other thing also is I grew up a New York Yankees fan. All right, I grew up a New York Yankees fan, and guess who was there? Steve Trout. He was he played for the Cubs and he played for the Yankees, and he was there. I guess he's getting into the MSP world. And, so he handed me his card and I said, God, last time I saw a name like that was from the 1985 Yankees. And he goes, you're looking at him. I said, I couldn't believe it. So
That's awesome.
yeah, you know, that was just such a cool venue. And then, you know, obviously, you know, you get literally, Paco, the next night, okay, I'm at a hotel. I'm leaving O'Hare the next day, and I'm at a hotel, and everybody is around the hotel bar, and they canceled the NCAA tournament. They canceled baseball.
Yeah.
They canceled NBA. And there you had Tom Hanks, you know, stuck in Australia, you know, you know what I mean? Like, it was just, that is when the world ended for a while, you know?
You know, it's funny that you say that, because I know, guys, we're listening on a side tangent, but I remember that I was talking to Dean, and he was saying that I guess you guys, there's like some like when you get to a certain amount of whatever level you are at data, you were going, President Club, and that you were going to Cancun, I think, that year or something like that. And there were people like canceling, we're not sure or whatever. And I remember a few folks were like, yeah, we're not sure. And there were some that were like, yeah, we're going. And I think as all that, and the next day, everything just kind of went downhill from there, from as far as on the news and kind of the cases and all that sort of deal. So
they went that following Monday. So I saw you on a Thursday.
Yep.
Went that following Monday, and they were there for a week. And I mean, it was just, you know, whispers and stuff. There was 2 people that came in that had high fevers. They turned around and sent them back on the plane home. You know, so it was just a crazy time, though.
Yeah, it was definitely a good time. But yeah, like I said, every time I talk to you, it's always a great time. Any final thoughts or anything we should tell our listeners on MailProtector, or on that detail of what they're providing for value?
Well, no, I mean, the fact that your listeners are listening to this podcast shows you that they care about their business. You know, there's nothing else I can say. I mean, they're just that they're taking the time to go improve their business, offer a better service model to their employees, and they're listening to a podcast or watching this podcast. And to me, I'm telling you that shows you that they're in the right steps, so the right direction.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Matt, I really appreciate you taking the time and getting on the show here. If anyone wanted to reach out to you directly or just find out more about MailProtector, what's the best way for them to find out more?
Matt.Scully@MailProtector.com. So it's Matt.Scully@MailProtector.com.
Very cool. We'll make sure we have that in the show notes. And of course, any other details that we want to put in there, we'll put that in there as well. And yeah, everyone, thank you for joining us today. This will be the last show before TechCon. We will not be having a show next week because we will be dealing with the fallout and all of the other deliverables as needed. But outside of next Tuesday, join us every Tuesday at noon Eastern, 11 Central. Watch it live and hang out in the chat room over at youtube.com/MSP Unplugged. Subscribe and hit that notification button so you never miss an episode, as we will start loading a few more episodes during the week as we find time, so we can load the feed and provide you good information from not only from vendors, but also other IT business owners and MSPs like yourselves. If you want to, please go ahead and feel free to use your favorite podcasting app and take us wherever you go. We are at Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Spotify, as I mentioned before. Again, as always, we appreciate everyone here. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time over on MSP Unplugged.
Thanks, guys.